Yeah, so this one was the previous one that we were accustomed to, the C and the A
Correct.
combining.
Correct.
And this was something that was that was reminiscent of kind of the previous times for us before the rebrand. But yeah, now that you have this logo animation, it kinds of points towards something. It's a pointy thing. It's a triangle, pointed triangle,
Right.
of course. If you will go by shape psychology in our field of branding, it always talks about progress, prosperity, and new things. And
Correct.
it looks like a star for sure. So it's pointing upwards. It goes in, points upwards. You can, if you have to give a meaning to it, it feels like you can conjure up all your internal energy and kind of rise up. That's the feeling I get.
Is this a 2024 rebrand, if I'm not wrong?
Yeah, it's pretty recent. I think 2023 maybe.
Okay. Correct.
All right, Decathlon now. Again, we all know the
Yes.
brand, we all love the brand. But when we say we, there was becoming like a generation gap between the perception of how the brand was working. If you
Correct.
scroll up, they have even written it in the context part that it's one of the biggest, it's probably the third, yeah, it's the third biggest sports company in the world with
Wow.
70 plus markets, 85 plus sports. That's a lot to cater to at different practice levels and touch points. But still, they have themselves mentioned it, so it must have been pretty bugging for them as well that the
Correct.
cultural impact in the sports were fainting out. Younger audiences were getting into more niche categories. Swimming, there was Speedo, there's Nike, and then there's Under Armour, and so many different brands have come up that are positioned for specific sport niches. And that's
Correct.
where Decathlon was kind of, you can say, falling off. And so, again, if you move up or you click on the more info, yeah, I mean, it's Wolf Hollins. Of course, they would have phenomenal storytelling. And they've,
Yes.
again, dived into the culture that started uh, Decathlon. It was a culture of unifying sports, much like
Correct.
you would say a Nike does, which
Correct.
is that, yes, Michael Jordan had worn our shoes, but you can as well. It's
Yes.
that kind of a feeling. It doesn't feel reserved. And
Yes.
they have talked about as well, right? This major insight combined with Decathlon's proud legacy of accessibility led to the development of a brand strategy which is anchored around the idea of wonder. And
Correct.
I think it works superbly well, which their new symbol, they're calling it L orbit.
Okay.
And it reflects like a, how you would explain will be like a new star, a North Star.
North
Yes,
Star.
move
Yeah.
people through the wonders of the sport. And even if you go to the logo, scroll up. Yeah, if you go to the logo or scroll down, I think there's some animation with the logo. It's super cool.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so this one was the previous one that we were accustomed to, the C and the A
Correct.
combining.
Correct.
And this was something that was that was reminiscent of kind of the previous times for us before the rebrand. But yeah, now that you have this logo animation, it kinds of points towards something. It's a pointy thing. It's a triangle, pointed triangle,
Right.
of course. If you will go by shape psychology in our field of branding, it always talks about progress, prosperity, and new things. And
Correct.
it looks like a star for sure. So it's pointing upwards. It goes in, points upwards. You can, if you have to give a meaning to it, it feels like you can conjure up all your internal energy and kind of rise up. That's the feeling I get.
Correct.
And you can move up further. They've refreshed the palette as well. It's a
Absolutely.
more vibrant one. It's a purple.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it purple. It's a, what would you call it?
It's sort of a bluish purple, I'd say.
Yeah,
A little
is
more
the
on the
word
blue
bergamot.
tone.
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
looks super cool. Even with the A, the all ages, all sports, you see that
Yes.
slant. We see it in
Yes.
other text specific things as well. The
That's
O is
right.
slanted as well,
I see in the O. The O is so unique.
right? Because the O resembles the actual circular or the oval
Correct.
silhouette of the logo.
Correct.
Super cool. And
Correct.
big brands, big agencies always work on their typography. Wolf Hollins don't
Absolutely.
just turn to play the game, they change the game. That's the CEO
Absolutely.
saying it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Typographically,
Absolutely.
they have changed it completely.
Absolutely. And the level of motion graphics,
Mhm.
the mock-up that we are watching right now is incredible,
Mhm.
right? This is the world-class quality that you see
Mhm.
here. Um, the way
Somewhere
that
you
they're
can also feel
presenting this.
the or should I call it? Should I call it the Nikeification of sports?
Sure, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of feels like
I'm open to
that.
calling it that. I'm open
Right.
to calling it.
From today, it's Nikeification.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. No, I agree. I agree with you. It's sort of that, okay, Nike has the word mark too, but obviously the
Mhm.
swoosh has just taken over the world.
Right.
They've introduced sort of what feels like a swoosh, but it's really
Hmm.
like what I see is like I see someone running a lap around a mountain.
Right.
That's kind of what I see. And I like that it's a little bit different, but it has
Right.
that quality to it. And I think as we saw the original logo, it was just the word mark itself as a
Hmm.
decathlon, as like a stamp, right?
Hmm.
Um, and the reason why you introduce an icon is so that it can work in these smaller spaces right here, right? So it can work in
Even the
um
previous Decathlon logo was like the quintessential, like the Dell blue kind of logo.
correct. Yes.
Yeah, it
Yes.
wasn't working well with the sports theme.
Yes. The blue that they were using was pretty desaturated compared to this one, right?
Right.
Um
Right.
so there's that bringing a vibrancy to the brand and bringing
Mhm.
a youthfulness to it. I've always loved the C and the A, how that marries together. And they
Mhm.
just improved it. Like you can see right here,
Mhm.
they just they spread them apart a little more and they just redrew it in a way that is just a little more beautiful. It feels a little more natural. The D and the E don't connect anymore. The LON don't connect anymore. It is only the
Mhm.
C and A, and that's such a small touch. But if you look at it deeply, it's really about giving the C and the A like their moment to shine, so that like
Mhm.
nobody else is touching. It's only these two shapes, and so you look there, and then you look at the icon, and then you recognize this brand from far away. I think there's a lot of psychological tricks that you can start to
True.
play with worldwide audiences, and there's those small triggers that make a big difference.
They've introduced much more imagery as well
Yes,
and videos as well. This looks super fresh. Fresh is the word, I think.
yes,
Now, if I'm a college student, I feel like, okay, this might be for me. I wouldn't feel like, oh, I should
yes,
just click off the website, look at something else.
yes,
They've improved like bigger typography on the website, clean,
yes,
super clean, white space, lots of white space. And again, the Quechua, I think it's written Quechua Quecha, the
correct.
place name.
Okay,
I think that's been done super well with
yeah,
that specific slant. I think they'll just carry the slant everywhere now. But it looks
absolutely,
good, looks specific.
absolutely.
And they've done
I'm
it
rem
on the A itself.
Yes, they have. I'm
Mhm.
reminded a lot of when I take a look at the brand and the kind of visuals that I'm seeing, I'm looking at hiking, running,
Mhm.
uh, snowboarding as they show
Mhm.
here. So I'm seeing a lot of these sort of mountainous sports that are popping up, and this
Mhm.
sort of just free range motor biking as well. And then they're introducing the side of boxing and they're sort of expanding the palette. And for me, I don't know much about Decathlon, except maybe I've seen
Mhm.
its logo here and there and stuff like that. But I'm also surprised that this is the third biggest sports company in the world. And
Mhm.
yet we don't, I have not much knowledge of it. For me, like I would look at Nike, Adidas, New Balance,
Mhm.
Reebok, all of those brands as the top leaders in the world. So I'm very surprised, but this is obviously a capturing a different niche and category, and
Right.
it's like you said, it's exploding outwards. The potential of what kind of sports belong to decathlon now,
Mhm.
and
Business
they've
wise as well.
captured that. That's
I
right.
think they make huge money because of having great margins. I think just
Correct.
from a business case study perspective, Decathlon does so much better than all the other apparent brands that comes to a mind, right? As you said, New Balance, Reebok, or something. I
Correct.
I didn't know that Decathlon is the third biggest. Third biggest is huge, but
Correct.
and they don't even have that many stores. 2,000
Yes.
stores is, I mean, it's a huge number.
Yes.
Not that many
That's
as well.
right. That's right.
And even with the imagery, they're showing the cushioning, the uh, small rectangles, then just pushing them in that same logo, that pointed logo, oval logo, L orbit.
Yeah.
Giving a name to the logo is always another fun thing that big agencies do. Slack has a name, Spotify
That's
one has
true.
a name. Super
That's
cool.
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Even the
Those are
image,
always
even
little
if you look
nice
at the
touches.
imagery, yeah, it's super
Yeah,
like blown out of proportion. They're not
correct.
showing the entire shoe. I
Correct.
think this is long shorts again, white shorts. Just
Correct.
looks fresh. Yeah, the
Absolutely.
ultralight jacket. Mhm.
Absolutely. I love the
I think this is a great one.
animations.
Mhm.
That's right.
And I love this one, the blurry topography.
Oh, this one.
Yeah,
Oh, that's interesting. I thought this would actually move. It would be a
yeah,
motion image.
the
That's really
static blurry
interesting.
topography.
Yes. I love that. There's like, okay, when we work on a brand identity project, we tend to maybe put ourselves in a box. Like
Hmm.
when we figure out the logo part, then we're like, okay, great. Now we've opened up the whole Pandora's box. Now we have everything. We have all the answers. But then when we get into actual executions and creating mock-ups and creating posters, creating social media graphics, we sort of start running out of ideas. That's at least something that I have dealt with. I love how they are trying something different here. The colors are there, the blue and the white. The font is there, right? And
Using
this
the
sort of
same O and that L orbit to
right,
signal the E.
exactly.
The blurriness
Exactly.
kind of shows the motion.
Exactly. They're trying all these interesting techniques that
Hmm.
like, okay, now you have the building blocks, but what you can do with this is really an infinite amount.
Hmm.
We're not stopping you. We're creating a sandbox for you, but even within
Hmm.
that sandbox, you can do anything according to your imagination, and the brand will never get old. That's what I feel. Like you said, this is fresh. This is a fresh
Hmm.
beginning for Decathlon. I'm excited to be a part of their brand. I'm excited to see this brand pop up in stores near me and actually try out their products. Like, look at this one too.
Hmm.
That's it's incredible. That's really cool stuff.
When we're on the topic, let's just cover wolf Collins as well. That specific W has just taken the world by the storm.
Yes, that's true.
It's super unique. It's wiggly. It shows the flowingness. Previously, it was kind of like too corporate, so to say, and I think that was something that they were feeling as well, positioning wise.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
I remember writing a post on that. That kind of just blew up. Even if you
Absolutely.
look at the favicon on the website, it's unique, especially
Correct.
for a brand design company, global brand design agency, and
Correct.
I love it. I love it. Really. And the change of the
Correct.
yellow as well. It's a super vibrant yellow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they've introduced something a completely like a flair that feels much younger than maybe they are
Hmm.
as an agency, and that sort of
Hmm.
youthfulness helps attract more youthful brands.
Sure.
Um, and I think it was a really cool move to see that. And again, like you learn from this stuff, like the W
Hmm.
is there, and then it just turns into I don't know if it's trying to spell the rest of the word. I don't think so,
Hmm.
but it's
Yeah.
really, it's abstract. It's
I think
something
we
that
should do another.
captures your
Yeah, I think we
attention.
should do another episode on just good global rebranding agencies, like global branding agencies. That would be super fun.
That's right.
Landau,
Global
Wolf
branding
Collins.
agencies and their logos and
Yeah,
identities. That would be a
we can do
cool
that one.
episode.
That would be cool.
That would be a really
Even if you
cool
think
episode.
about it from a business perspective, it makes sense
Yeah,
because, of course, a Nike won't just be approaching you for a, a rebranding or a refresh every other week. So it would
correct.
have to be approachable to the new age audience, to the newer startups, newer brands coming up. Makes
Right.
sense.